Hi everybody, I'm going to be going through the parts of the microscope. Today I'm using the Boreal microscope. We do have a different selection of microscopes here in the lab that you may be using with your particular lab or instructor. One thing about microscopes though, after all the years, they have changed in design, but the parts are all the same. The parts that I'm going to start with, I'm going to start from the top and kind of work my way down. These two lenses here are called the Oculars or the eyepiece. This is where you would rest your eyes upon, of course, or look through with your eyes. You probably don't want to rest them on there. You do want to make sure you clean those off with lens paper before you use them. But this is offering you a view at a 10 times magnification. So what that means is when you look through just these lenses alone, it's going to be magnifying your specimen at 10 times its normal size. Now these oculars do, in this case, spread apart. You can use both your hands to adjust for your view. When you're looking through the eyepiece, you should have one circle of light that is viewable for you to examine your specimen with. Now the oculars are fixed into the head of the microscope, and just below the head of the microscope you'll find this round dial, which is called the revolving nose piece. And the revolving nose piece is used to turn to the desired objective lenses. Now you want to be sure that you're using the revolving nose piece to change your objective lenses and not cranking by using the objective lenses. This will cause the objective lenses to become loose and they may actually fall out and break. Okay, so this is the revolving nose piece. And if you listen on the video, it may be apparent. If not, when you're using in the lab, you'll hear that as each of the objective lenses rotates into place, you will hear a click. And that click will indicate that that objective lens is in place and in proper order. Now this particular microscope has 4 objective lenses. And the objective lenses have a lens, a magnifying lens in each of them. They are open, which allows the light to pass through the body of the microscope and then allow that pathway of light through the oculars so that you can view your specimen. Now this particular microscope has 4 objective lenses and they are color coded. Many times your lab manual may indicate for you to record the color of those, or your instructor may point that out to you. I tell my students not to become too fixated on the color of the objective lenses because different manufacturers may use different colors, or if a microscope is older, the color may be missing or have been rubbed off from all the years. But one thing you will notice is that each of these objective lenses has different lengths. The shorter the objective lens, the lower or the least amount of strength it has with magnification. And I'm going to turn to the first one here so that it's more visible to you. And this is called the 4 times magnification objective lens. This is also called the scanning objective lens. And in some laboratories, they will use this objective lens to scan the field on their microscope to find the desired area of your specimen for viewing. Okay. Now this objective lens, when you find a specimen in focus with this, remember, the lower the magnification, the more of your specimen you see and the less detail that is afforded. So it's not the best view, but it is a great way to get your specimen in view. The next highest magnification is the 10x, or the 10 times, and that x, remember, is pronounced or said as times. So the 10x means that the specimen is going to be viewed at 10 times its normal size. So it's going to magnify 10 times in number. And this one, when you use this one, is called the low power objective lens. And the low power objective lens is a lens that is used to afford you better detail. Of course, you're still seeing a great amount of the field itself. Okay. The next is your 40 times objective lens, and this will magnify your specimen 40 times its normal size. And the 40x is often called the high power objective lens, or sometimes your instructor may call it the high dry objective lens. And that means when you hear the word dry that it's not using oil. The next lens that we have does use oil, immersion oil, and that is the 100 times objective lens. And the 100 times objective lens requires oil. And the oil is important because the 100 times objective lens has a very small opening, and that opening does not permit a lot of the light to get through, so the oil traps all of the light that would normally maybe deflect or diffract away due to the slide up into your viewing area. And that's one important thing to keep in mind when you look at your objective lenses, is that the opening, when you start at the 4 and you go to the 10 and then to the 40 and then to the 100, the opening gets smaller. So with the 4 times and the 10 times, the opening at the bottom of each of these objective lenses is large. So any of the light that's coming from your light source and passing up into the objective lens, even if some of it is being splayed away, it still may be caught in that large opening. But as you get to your higher magnifications, the opening gets smaller. So some of the light may actually not make it up through that opening. So the oil holds all the light so it shines up through like a beacon or beam of light up through there, so you get your best amount of light. When you are ready to view your specimen, you always start with your lower objective lenses, either your 4 or your 10x, and you would get your specimen into focus using those objective lenses, and then you would switch over to your higher objective lens, your 40, and then finally get that in focus, and then to the 100, and where you would put in some oil. And there is a video available for how to view a slide using your objective lenses and some of the rules with that. Now this is called the stage, and this is where you would place your slide or your specimen on. Now this particular microscope has a little arm that can be used. You push it back, and it opens up what we call the stage clips. And when you release that, that arm moves back in close to the other arm parallel to it, and that basically will cradle your slide and hold it in place. Now the stage itself on the Boreal does go up quite rapidly, as you see, if you use a knob called the Coarse adjustment knob. So you can see how quickly that comes up. Okay. This Coarse adjustment knob is the largest knob closest to the arm, and this is the arm of the microscope. And when you rotate this toward you, it brings the stage down. You rotate it away from you, it brings the stage up. Now you only want to use the Coarse adjustment knob with your low power objective lenses, your 4x and your 10x. And that's because neither one of them is long enough in that it will crash into your slide when you're quickly bringing that up, okay? Your fine adjustment knob you'll turn towards you or away to get into fine focus or a precise focus. Coarse adjustment knob gets you into a rough focus. gets you into a pretty good focus where you can view your specimen, but then your fine adjustment knob gets it into that precise, and it moves in much smaller increments, which allows you to control the focus to precision and to precise viewing. Okay? Now just below the stage are two knobs, and they control the movement of the stage clip. And the knob that is on the top moves the stage forward and away from you, and the knob below moves the stage clip from the left and to the right. Now when you're using your stage clip and the knobs that are used to move your stage, I should say, and move that back and forth for you, it does change the way you're viewing your specimen. So if you're moving your slide to the left, your view is actually moving to the right of your slide. And this, when you're viewing your slides, depending on what lab you're using, certainly you want to observe a good number of fields, especially with a patient specimen or maybe a specimen that is sparse, where you may not have a lot of bacteria or cells that you want to view, and you really want to look around with that. And that's usually done best with your lower power objective lens. Now just below the stage, and I'm wheeling this down for you guys to see, is an apparatus that is called the condenser. Now the condenser, when I look at this whole kind of apparatus, is used to concentrate the light that is coming up from the light source just below it. And here in our lab, we actually have electricity. We have a light bulb. Back in the old days, they had maybe candles or used natural light. But of course, now we have nice light coming through this. And this is if you take a look under the stage, you'll see it's cone-shaped, which is concentrating or directing the light into a smaller, it's taking all those beams and focusing it just underneath your slide. Now housed inside of this condenser apparatus, there's something called an iris diaphragm. And the iris diaphragm moves with a lever. Sometimes it'll be a dial, but this microscope is a lever, and both the iris diaphragm and the condenser are used to control light. And this helps you to view your specimen. It gives you contrast. It aids not only with stained slides, but slides that have no stain. And you can use light to increase your viewing for your specimen. And as I pointed out, here is the light source. Now, on this particular microscope, the power button is here on the back. You'll see on and off. And when you turn that on, the light will go on. Now, you always want to make sure that before you turn, getting ready to end your lab or to put the microscope away, you always want to turn the light off before you unplug the microscope. And remember also, when you're plugging in the microscope, not to pull it by the cord, but to actually pull it from the plug from the wall itself. So these are some of the important parts of the microscope, and in the upcoming videos you'll get a chance to actually put a slide on and use it. Goodbye.